Welcome back to Pewdiepie. I'm Zui and I hope you enjoyed today's video. But before we get right into it, I'm obligated to remind you to click either the like or dislike button, commenting something down below, and of course sharing the video so more people can see and enjoy it. This is very important as it helps with the YouTube algorithm. I want you to know that your help is greatly appreciated. If you have any suggestions or ideas for a story, my Discord link is in my link tree that is down in the description, as well as my Patreon and Ko-fi for any donations you may want to send my way. Every cent counts. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video.
The sun was shining mercilessly upon the UA gardens. A drought had ruined a lot, and as the leader of the gardening club it was your duty to take care of the poor plants. You were covered in sweat and dirt, trying to save the more sensitive ones by getting them into more shady areas. While the newest member of the gardening club, called Kirishima, was trying to repair the garden's sprinkler system that had broken down 3 days ago. Exhaustion was the only thing you felt, together with your increased heartbeat and messy hair, of course. Suddenly you heard Ejiro shout something.
What?
You screamed back, over to him. He answered with a loud grunt. At least, loud enough for you to hear. The boy was getting mad. You began to nervously nibble on your left thumb, only stopping once he tasted blood. After letting a few droplets of it fall into your watering can, you marched over to the roses. Every sigh escaped you as you watered them. Thanks to your quirk, they immediately became more lively. But right now you were more concerned with the ever-rising heat, and the sprinkler system that was still broken. You had suggested asking the support course for help, but the redhead talked you out of it. Of course, there were other members of the gardening club too, but in this heat, these slackers had all decided to rather spend the day at the local public pool. Okay, let's take a break. You heard Kirishima growl right behind you suddenly, and you shrieked. When did he come behind you? Ah, come on, boss, I'm not that scary. After regaining some composure, you nodded, and the two of you went to one of the cherry blossom trees for some shade before sitting down on the ground. There was a rumor going around UA High that people who confessed their feelings to each other under one of the many cherry blossom trees in the gardens, while it rained, the two of them would stay together forever. Of course, no one openly believed it, but many did it regardless, seemingly for fun. And so far, none of the couples who actually did it had broken up. Considering that most high school romances don't last more than a week, this rumor might have some merit to it. You were just glad nobody knew the role that you actually played in this rumor, because it was thanks to your quirk that the cherry blossom trees were blooming all year round, filling the air around UA with beautiful pink petals, like one of those cheesy romance anime visual novels. You had spent countless hours staring at the various love-struck couples, huddling under these trees while it rained, being all lovey-dovey with each other. In all honesty, you were a little jealous. None of the boys at UA were interesting to you. Well, of course, Kirishima was an exception. The boy was surprisingly good at taking care of something as defenseless as UA's flowers, despite his bashful demeanor. However, he did tend to use a little too much fertilizer. You both were out of breath. He mumbled something and you glanced over at him. Kirishima was searching through his bag. What are you doing? You asked. Looking for something. I asked BOKU to cook something up. He kept his voice low. Something between a growl and a whisper, as whatever he was looking for was a highly sensitive secret. Does he have some secret burger formula or something? you said with a giggle. What? Maybe you overstepped the line. No, just... He paused and looked at you. I'll go get it. Must have left it in the dorms. He jumped up on his feet and began a short sprint, only to then slow down to a crawl, the heat getting the better of him. A pout made its way across your face. You had hoped you could talk to him a little more. It was like you always forgot that you somehow developed a crush on him whenever he was around you. With a heavy sigh, you leaned against the tree. It really was a beautiful day outside. Thanks to your efforts, the flowers were blooming, and the birds who nested in one of the other trees were singing. On days like these, taking a nap seemed to be the best thing to do. And just when your mind was about to drift into the endless abyss of sleep, you heard the stomping footsteps of Kirishima. He was back, and proceeded to sit next to you. In his arms were 2 boxes. I got BOKU to make us some bento, he mumbled while handing you a box. You could have sworn he had a light blush on his face. Oh, who's BOKU? You were in class 2B, so you never really interacted with class 1A. He's one of my classmates. It's fine, he's a cool guy. You opened the box, and a small cloud of steam floated into your face, accompanied with a wonderful smell. You looked over at Eijiro to thank him, but he was already stuffing his face with his own meal, so for now you just kept it at a gentle smile. When he was halfway through his food, he gulped loudly and panted. What's wrong? You asked. Almost burped. Really loudly. You gave him a perplexed look. What? I thought boys liked stuff like that. He blushed again, this time more obvious. Yeah, but, you know, not around girls. You just can't respect a man's bodily functions. You smiled. You know you can burp around me. I don't mind. We're friends. He chuckled in response. Why did you calling him a friend hurt so much? You don't understand. I belch like a nuke going off. So there was the boyish pride in their own bodily functions. Your conversation quickly shifted, luckily, as he began ranting about the people in his class, and how all of them were so quirky. He just found it hilarious, and he sometimes found himself thinking that he was rather plain in comparison. You hung on every word he spoke. Since you were mostly alone in the gardening club, you didn't have much human interaction outside of classes, and you did appreciate the silence, but when it involved him, it was different. It was nicer. Something about his rough demeanor and red hair that, quite frankly, fit his personality quite well. You wondered if he would consider coloring it black, just to see how it looked like. Eventually he stopped talking and stared at the shed that had the Eventually, however, he stopped talking and stared at the shed that had the controls for the sprinkler system in them. I still need to fix that. I just remembered. The food was way too good, wasn't it? After the two of you finished your bento, he marched back into the shed, leaving you alone under the cherry blossom tree. Somehow you felt unsure of what to do. And then suddenly you heard a loud crash. Your heart stopped for a beat, and you sprinted towards the noise, not noticing the fizzling noise that was beginning to surge all around you. Once you reached the shed's door, your face turned to shock. A wrench was sticking out of a panel with a lot of cables, and the redhead was lying on the ground next to you. Did you just... please, need some silence. My head is ringing. You put your hands over your mouth. Did he just break it? Slowly he stood up, and you fell on your knees. No, you broke it more, you moron! You cried. Yeah, I'm just gonna ask the brains at the support. He stopped mid-sentence, his face turning to a grin. Stop grinning, you're gonna get expelled. Well, I highly doubt it. The heck are you talking about? He bent down and grabbed your elbow, bringing you back on your feet. Just look, he said. Your jaw dropped. The sprinklers were actually working. The water was shooting out of the ground and slowly coming down, like rain, creating a small rainbow in the middle of the field of flowers. Oh my god, you did it. Oh my god, you did it. You fucking did it! You shouted as you stormed outside, carefully stepping around the plants while dancing in the artificial rain. The cool water feeling both like a rejuvenating sleep and exhilarating energy drink, both at once. The plants were finally saved. You didn't know when. You didn't know how. But eventually you found yourself in Kirishima's arms, under the tree. Wait, what happened? You said. Your mind felt cloudy. Well, you jumped around the garden and eventually collapsed. You probably should have drank a little bit more. Oh, was your only reply. I think after today you just need a little bit more than just a bento box, huh? Yeah. You looked around. Both of you were sitting under the same tree again, the sprinklers still spewing water everywhere. You bit your lower lip. Maybe now was the time. Hey, remember that rumor? You asked nervously. And as if a light bulb was lit inside his brain, he looked down at you. What? Do you think this counts? For a moment you two were quiet. I won't tell anyone that it isn't really rain. Kirishima scoffed and followed it up with a smirk. So you actually believe that rumor, huh? You frowned. Ah, come on. I think it's cute. You blushed hard. And I mean, truthfully, Midori and Uraraka did this and they are still together. Kirishima shrugged. But then again, the two were pretty obviously pining for each other for a very long time. He tapped his chin with his thumb. Ah, sure. Why not? Kirishima gave you the biggest smile, before very bravely kissing you on your lips. Took you by surprise and you squeaked. I didn't realize girlfriends are dog toys too. You puffed up your cheeks in annoyance before saying, It's just I thought my first kiss would feel less, stolen. Also, girlfriend? I thought you found me annoying, to be honest. He happily exhaled through his nose. Don't worry about it. Everything is fine. Okay? Okay. You hushed. How about another then? This time I'm mentally prepared. His smirk turned to a gentle smile. Sure. Let's do this.